You're not crazy. And don't let anyone convince you that you are. This happened to you. You're not imagining it. It's not your fault. You didn't cause it. This happened to you and not by you. And understandably, man, in this mess that you're in, you're starting to sway a little bit about your relationship with God. And that's understandable, man. You're starting to second guess God. You're second guessing your relationship with God. You're second guessing your faith. And that's understandable, man. But I want you to hold on for a second. There's a few things I want to show you. There's a few things I want to talk to you about. Your relationship with God in the midst of your victimization. As you stand in your victimization, there's a few things that you need to see and you need to understand. Turn with me to the book of Jeremiah, the 29th chapter. Right? I'm not going to be reading everything in the 29th chapter. I'm just going to be pulling verses to give you the instructions that God gave the Israelites in this chapter. Jeremiah 29 is a letter of prophecy written by the prophet Jeremiah, sent to the elders and the priests that had been taken away in exile by the Babylonians. And the Babylonians were a powerful people. They not only conquered Israel, but they carted away 2/3 of the population. Historians say they only left the poor people behind. Oftentimes, when you read about the history of the Israelites, you'll find that, God did things to them. God allowed things to happen to them because of their disobedience, because of their unfaithfulness. But according to Jeremiah, the children of Israel were taken away to exile by no fault of their own. Let's look at the 4th verse, Jeremiah 29:4, and it says, "Thus saith the Lord of hosts, the God of Israel, unto all that are carried away captives, whom I have caused to be carried away from Jerusalem and Babylon." Well, Jeremiah is saying that God is saying, you didn't do anything to cause this. This is happening to you because of something that I'm allowing at this moment. The Israelites in this moment were 100% victims in this moment. But God had some concerns about the Israelites in their exile, in their victimization. There's a few things that God told them and instructed them to do in this godly caused victimization. Let's look at the 5th and the 6th verse. This is an instruction by God to the Israelites in their victimization, in their exile. The verse 5 says, "Build ye houses, dwell in them, plant gardens, and eat fruit of them. Take ye wives, beget sons and daughters. Take wives for your sons. Give your daughters to husbands, that they may bear sons and daughters, that ye may be increased there and not diminished." Telling them to maintain the fundamental elements of life. A home represents security and rest. Gardens speaks of sustenance and feeding yourself. Getting married, having children, procreation, sex. Those are the 4 fundamental elements of life. In this situation, God is in essence saying, don't give up on life. Don't give up on life even though this is happening to you. And the easy thing for you to do is for you to give up fundamentally. Continue even in this unfairness, even in this confusion there is still a life available in this situation that you're in. All right. So let's look at verse 7. Jeremiah 29, looking at verse 7, and it reads as follows: "And seek the peace of the city, whether I cause you to be carried away captives, and pray unto the Lord for it. For in the peace thereof shall ye have peace." Now I want to spend a little time on this verse, because in this verse, God is really concerned about peace. He mentioned peace at least 3 times in this verse. He said, "Seek peace, in the peace, and ye shall have peace." And in this word peace in Hebrew is shalom. And shalom speaks to wholeness, oneness, completeness. God was concerned about their oneness. God was concerned about their completeness in Him. God was concerned about their relationship, the relationship between the Israelites and God. God wanted them to focus on peace. He wanted them to restore shalom. But there's something particular that He said in this situation that I found very, very enlightening to me. Verse 7 says, in the first part of the verse, it says, "And seek the peace of the city." There's a provision of peace. There is a supply of peace in the city, and they needed to seek it. Even further in that verse, He says, "And seek the peace of the city, whether I have caused you to be carried away, and pray unto the Lord for it." This was kind of like a valley of the shadow of death situation for the children of Israel. David said, "Yea, though he walk through the valley of the shadow of death," he's not going to fear in this situation, because thou art with me. God always, in every circumstance, supplies Himself, whether it be a joyous occasion, whether it be the valley of the shadow of death, whether it be a circumstance of victimization. God supplies Himself in some way, shape, form, or fashion. In the valley of the shadow of death situation, God supplied Himself as the rod and the staff. And that rod and that staff caused David to not fear and to have comfort. Well, in this situation of victimization, God supplied Himself as peace. And He instructed the children of Israel to seek that, because it wasn't apparent. Understandably, it wasn't apparent. In this mess, in this situation, you need to seek peace. You need to seek the wholeness. You need to seek the oneness. You need to seek out your relationship with God. Don't assume automatically, because you've been victimized, that there is no relationship with God with you in this situation. You need to find that oneness. You need to find that wholeness. This verse said to even pray for it. Go to God and say, "God, I don't see you in this. I'm questioning our relationship in this moment. I don't understand who you are in this situation. And I ask that you display, ask that you show me your oneness. Show me our wholeness. Show me our completeness. Show me shalom in this situation." Seek God for peace. Seek God for that relationship. Have Him show you that He's still there with you. Have Him demonstrate His oneness with you. And if you read even further in the verse 7, He says, "For in peace thereof shall ye have peace." Another strange words to say to someone in victimization, that once you find peace, you'll have peace. What God was saying to the Israelites is that seek the peace. Once you've recognized the peace, once you've recognized that our relationship has not changed, that I am still God in your life, and that I still love you, and once our relationship has been recognized, it will then cause the relationship to be established. You find peace, it will cause peace. You must first find the peace, seek it, and find the peace. Find your relationship with God in this situation that you're in. Once God has shown you that He's still there, and you see that He's still there, your relationship with Him will be established. The found peace will cause peace in your life. Let's look at verse 8. Verse 8 says as follows: For thus saith the Lord of hosts, the God of Israel, let not your prophets and your diviners that be in the midst of you deceive you, neither hearken to your dreams which ye caused to be dreamed. In this verse, it shows that God was concerned about two things. God was concerned about your spiritual life and your mental life. He demonstrated His concern about the spiritual life by instructing the children of Israel to be careful about the prophets. In moments of victimization, it's very easy to find someone that will lead you astray. There's a bunch of people walking around here claiming to be speaking for God, claiming to know the heart of God, claiming to know how to lead you out of this mess, claiming to know what God is saying to you in this mess. And God wants you to be careful. His instruction to you in your victimization right now is to be careful. Be careful of the advice that you take. Be careful of the men and women of God that you consult. Be careful. It can cause that relationship that you found to be destroyed. God was concerned about their mental stability as well. And that was found in Him instructing them to not listen to your dreams. Dreams are just illustrations of your thoughts. God was saying, listen, I know what you're thinking. I understand this is an opportunity for your mind to go crazy, creating scenarios, creating explanations that will cause you to fall away from God. God is saying, ignore those dreams. Be careful of your thoughts. Take hold of what you're thinking in this situation. All right, let's look at the last verse here. The last verse will be verse 11. Let's look at verse 11. And it reads as follows: For I know the thoughts that I think toward you, saith the Lord, thoughts of peace. There's peace again. God is really concerned about peace. And not of evil, to give you an expected end. You may be thinking crazy right now. You may not understand why this happened to you. You may be questioning as to whether or not God loves you anymore. But verse 11 tells us that God knows His own thoughts of you. There's your thoughts right now, and there's the thoughts of God. And God's thoughts of you is of peace, oneness. There's nothing changed about you and God in God's mind. There's still peace between you and God. You may think that this moment of victimization is because you did something and God is mad at you. You may think this is what you're going through is an example of the fissure between you and God. But God says, I know my thoughts of you. And my thoughts of you is shalom. My thoughts of you is oneness. My thoughts of you is wholeness. Nothing has changed. Don't let a moment of victimization to pull you away. Don't let someone who has taken advantage of you pull you away from God. You didn't cause this. It's not your fault. You think God is mad at you. But God is saying to you right now, there's nothing but peace in his thoughts for you. All right, man. Don't let this moment of victimization destroy you. Don't let it fundamentally destroy you. Don't let it make you give up on your life. Don't let it make you give up on your marriage. Don't let it make you give up on your children. Don't let it make you give up on the goals that you have for life. God is still interested in your life. All right, man, I gotta go. I hope this encourages you in your situation, gives you strength in the middle of it. Again, I say it all the time, you didn't cause this. This was caused upon you. But God is still there. God is still there in this mess. Don't turn away. Don't give up. Keep fighting. I appreciate you this week. As I say every week, thank you for showing up. My name is Jeff Staten, and this is Pressing Toward the Mark. One love.